Hi everyone, I'm Laura and this is Lalo Yoga and Wellness. Today we're going to be doing a restorative practice, one that's just designed to kind of loosen you up and calm your nervous system down. So feel free to grab any kind of props that you might want to use, maybe a bolster or a rolled up blanket. I'm actually going to be using just an extra mat that I have rolled up to give me a little bit of support in some of our poses. So grab whatever it is that you need and let's get started. I'm going to start today's practice in corpse pose, taking your bolster, your blanket, your rolled up mat, whatever it is that you have, and we're just going to place it underneath the neck to give that neck a little bit of an extra stretch. So take the legs out nice and long, roll on back, and get the right position here underneath your neck. Adjust your clothes any way that you might need to, just to give you some extra comfort while you sit here in your corpse pose. You can have your palms up. That helps you maybe feel like you want to bring in a little more energy, or palms down if you feel like you need a little more grounding energy today. Arms are just resting at your side wherever you'd like them to be. And you have that nice blanket, bolster, mat, whatever, right underneath your neck. You sort of want it to be resting at the base of your skull, that occipital bone, so that the head is gently tilting toward the ceiling and you're giving it a little bit of a stretch and release. And we're going to take 5 long, slow breaths right here. Taking a few moments to connect to your body. Letting your thoughts slow down a little bit. Finding your breath. Set your left foot on the floor and take your arms and bring that knee in a little bit closer to you. We're going to pull that right knee in and just gently kick that leg out to rock yourself up. And take your rolled up blanket, your mat, whatever it is that you have. We're going to turn it vertical now and place it right here at the base of the tailbone and just roll back onto it. Trying to find a neutral position on the spine, letting your head possibly rest on the floor, slightly elevated here to give a gentle opening across the chest. We don't want to have too big of a bolster here because that might create a little too much stretch while we're still a little bit cold through these muscles. Looking for a nice gentle opening here. Legs stretched out, letting your shoulder blades wrap around that bolster, or rather mat or blanket, whatever you've got underneath. Let's take 5 more deep, slow breaths. Take an inhale, this time letting your right foot come to the floor, drawing that knee into the chest, and kicking out with the left leg. Bring yourself up. We're just going to remove any bolster, blanket, whatever it is that you have, set it down to the side. And let yourself roll on back, extending the legs out. If your hips are feeling up to it, you can bring yourself to reclined goddess, letting the soles of the feet come together and the knees gently fall out. How close you bring the feet in is really up to you and your comfort level. You can always place blocks underneath your knees to give you a little bit of extra support. Leaving your right arm exactly where it is. I want you to just slightly roll onto your side, bend your left arm and slide it underneath that little hollow spot on your back. See if you can reach all the way underneath your back to come over to your right arm or close to it. Eyes might be open or closed. Let's take those 5 slow breaths here. And on your next inhale, start to roll slightly onto your right side. Withdraw that left arm, roll back onto your back. And take the left arm, this time drawing it across the chest. Bring your right arm up and just rest it on top of the left, either at the forearm or at the upper arm. Just avoid that elbow joint. Taking our 5 breaths. On your next inhale, releasing the arms, exhaling, bringing the arms alongside the body. We're going to roll gently onto our left side, just a little bit. Slide the right arm underneath that hollow in your back. Rolling onto the back, seeing if maybe we can reach the right arm all the way over to the left. Taking our time with our breath. And on your next inhale, taking that gentle roll to the left, withdrawing the right arm, sweeping it across the chest, again placing the left arm either on the forearm or maybe a little higher, just not the joint. Let your shoulders release. On your next inhale, releasing that arm and bringing both down to the sides. The knees are wide, bring them together. I'm going to set those heels right underneath your knees. Inhale, scoop your hips, and then gently peel the spine up one vertebra at a time. You might want to lift your head just to give it a little bit of clearance so it's not dragging on the floor. Open up the hips, and then slowly roll it back down one vertebra at a time. I'm going to bring both knees into the chest, hands on top of those knees, giving them a gentle rock side to side. And then pausing in the center, tucking your chin, rock yourself up. Bring your hands out to one side, knees swinging around to the other. We're going to move into a tabletop position. Hands right under the shoulders. Spread your fingers wide, wide enough that you can see the mat between your fingers. Nice and long here through the spine. Maybe a round of cow and cat if that feels good. Lifting the gaze and the hips. Exhaling, rounding the spine. And returning to our tabletop position. Let's extend through the left foot, toes on the ground, tucked under. Give it a gentle rock back and forth. Then we pause back in our neutral position. Flipping the right shin out to the side, we're going to sweep that left hand up high. Maybe you follow it with your gaze. Maybe you look straight ahead, or maybe down to your hand on the floor. See what feels good for you. And then we're going to lift up that left leg, pull the heel towards the butt, reach for your foot. Could use a towel or a yoga strap if you feel like you want to make your arm a little longer so you can reach that foot. Three more breaths here. Release that left foot, swing it around toward the top of your mat, stepping between the hands, coming into a low lunge. Let's lift up through the chest, lean in just a little bit more. See if you can find a scoop through your hips to open up through that hip. Let's reach up through the left hand overhead, finding some space from our rib cage down to our hip bone. Really reaching the right fingertips toward the floor. And then we return our spine to a neutral. Shifting your hips back towards your heel, kneeling pyramid. We can pop those left toes up off the floor. You might even sit down a little bit deeper if this feels comfortable for you. If it's putting more pressure on that right knee than you'd like, feel free to stay up a little bit higher. And we slowly press up from the floor, returning to that low lunge, and then bringing the knees under the hips, right back into our table. Maybe you go for a cow and cat, maybe you go for a little side to side. And then we pause here in that neutral position. Find some space along your neck. Make sure you're keeping the shoulders away from the ears. We're going to extend out through the right foot and gently rock it back and forth. Come back to your breath here. We pause here in the center. We're going to flip this left leg out, roll onto the inside of the right foot, reaching the right hand high. Starting in your supported side plank, find your neck position that feels most comfortable for you. And then we lift the right leg up, draw the heel in towards the back side, grabbing at the top of the foot or even the shin. Just avoid the joint, no ankle pulling. Again, option to use your strap or a towel if you feel like you want a little more length in your arms to be able to reach that foot. Taking your gaze toward the top of the mat, let's bring that right foot around, stepping in between the feet to find our low lunge. Lifting up and away from the mat. We're going to reach down through the left fingertips and up toward the ceiling with the right. Just a gentle arc through the spine, lifting our right ribs up away from the right hip bone. We inhale, return to our low lunge, dropping our hands down alongside the body, sitting back into that kneeling pyramid. Let your right toes pop up off the mat. Again, option to drop down all the way to that back heel, paying attention to how it feels on your left knee. Using your hands, let yourself shift back into your low lunge. Returning to a tabletop. Maybe a cow-cat, maybe side to side, maybe a little of both. You're going to swing those feet out to the left, bring your hands around to the right. And find a seated position. So you can go with cross-legged if that's comfortable, or maybe bound angle if that's more comfortable for you, whichever feels good. Sit up nice and tall. Let's take a deep breath up together. Exhale, dropping your left hand to your right knee, taking your right arm behind you. Just take a little look over your shoulder. Inhale, sit taller. Exhale, deepen that twist. And on your next inhale, we reach both hands high. Exhale, coming to that seated twist on the other side. Inhale, sitting taller. Exhaling, twisting just a bit deeper. Inhale, reaching both hands high. Exhale, set your feet flat on the floor. Let your arms come behind the legs, lacing your fingers, and roll down into a nice little release for your back. Let your chin drop to the chest. And then we begin to slowly allow ourselves to roll all the way down, taking our rolled up mat, blanket, bolster, whatever we have, and just placing it underneath the knees. Arms relaxing wherever they feel most comfortable. You might want an eye pillow here, or a mask. Even a towel across the eyes sometimes is nice to get a little extra darkness. Shut out everything but your breath. Allow yourself to begin to soften into each breath. All around your feet, your toes, your heels, right up into your calves. The back of your thighs wrapping around to the front of the thighs. Letting the hips soften into the floor. Easy rise and fall of the belly. Feeling your heart beating in your chest. Continue relaxing through the shoulders, right down your arms to your elbows, forearms, all the way to your fingertips. And let the neck soften. Put a little space between your teeth, loosening your jaw, smoothing out your face, letting your eyes feel heavy in their sockets, smoothing out your brow and releasing any tension from the scalp. Let's take 10 breaths here together. We start to bring a little bit of awareness and energy to the feet, to the hands, gradually making our way to seated. Allowing the chin to drop to the chest. And gently turning your chin toward the left shoulder. Bringing the chin to the chest and then slowly taking it to the right shoulder. And coming back to the center. Letting the eyes start to open if they've been closed. Taking a deep breath out and up together. Exhale, bringing those hands to heart center. May you have peace in your thoughts, kindness in your words, and hope in your hearts. From my heart to yours, namaste. I hope you found some calm and restoration in today's practice. Please share it with anybody that you think might feel a little bit better, a little bit calmer in their day if they follow restorative practice. Please be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And meet me over at layloyoga.com for more wellness inspiration.